introduce this build, and it's true. I'm not really building instruments anymore, though I did build this one. And I know that sounds funny. I just haven't been and not really interested in building more. But I felt like the Lord gave me a picture of this and wanted me to build it. I was sure it was something I was just supposed to do for my own personal use. And that might sound strange to you, but it didn't to me. And so this is what I came up with. And it's essentially geometrically a trapezoid shaped body. Some people would think it's a triangle, but it's flat on the top, which is a pointless math lesson. And I made this instrument out of one mahogany board and 3 shakes split off a chunk of cedar wood. And at the end of this introductory part of the video, I'm attaching a couple other videos where I tried to process everything in camera so you could see some of what I was doing. I didn't do a very good job of documenting the process. I got busy and I was thinking more about the build than keeping track of the build. But it shows the early beginning with just the frame shape and the chunk of wood I was cutting the cedar off of, and some of those things if you're interested. And then later on it'll show the V-bracing that I used on the cedar top after I planed everything down. And so essentially I split those shakes off, planed them down to get this top wood out of red cedar, and everything else was a red mahogany board that I trimmed down on the table saw and then planed down, except of course the neck I hand carved as I always do. And I put a little arch in the back, inlaid some abalone looking binding, and the other details are actually more of a decal that's under the lacquer, so it looks like inlay. It's just easier to do and less time consuming. This is what I'd call a pretty simple build. If it was something someone wanted to try to do, I didn't have to bend any wood. So that's what's different on this build, is you're just using straight boards. And the top, this board up here, and the tail board are both 5/8 inch thick mahogany. I didn't run them down to 1/8 and then glue a block in there like I normally would, and most guitars are made that way. I just left the top and the tail thick because I needed it thick to bolt the neck on and to glue the neck in place, which is part of the issue. And I just left it, and actually the 5/8 thick mahogany on this tail really seems to give it more sustain, which is a neat feeling. You can feel the instrument going for a while, and that's kind of a fun experience. In the process, I made an actual pick guard out of some scrap tiger wood, and backed it with some 3M so I could put it on place like a standard pick guard. I like armrests. The point of an armrest is it keeps your arm from touching the soundboard. I favor them personally, so I made an armrest out of this piece of tiger wood, and of course it's glued on, and the whole finish is a semi-gloss except the pick guard, which is a glossy lacquer finish, so it's a little different finish. The fretboard was made out of a rough cut rosewood, and the point of that is rosewood makes a nice fretboard. And then I just marked off the scale on here. It's a 21.5 inch scale length, which is pretty short for a guitar. Actually, a short scale length is 24 inches, and a standard, it runs between 25 and 3/4 to 26 inch scale lengths on standard guitars. I made a short scale length, and I tune it to standard 12-string guitar tuning. It makes the strings a little more slack. I don't know how much it really affects the sound, The playability is excellent. I'm not getting any kind of buzz or any issues there. I'm using Elixir Light Nano Web strings, phosphorus bronze. And I don't know if you can see, there's a fret right here at the base of the nut. I like zero fretting an instrument. You don't have to adjust height on the nut. It's consistent with the other frets, and it makes capoing a lot more accurate. This was just this one's a little different than how I often have done them in the past. I glued the fret on the end of the fretboard and notched the nut around the fret so that when it glued in place, it held the other side of it. And it works great. And use rosewood for the nut, and it's fine. It works really well, and it's very playable, and it stays in place. And the neck might seem a little wide to some people. There's a little piece of me that wishes I'd made it even a little wider, only because I favor wide necks. If anyone that's ever played my nylon string that I made that looks like a Puerto Rican cuatro, they realize the neck's like a big bat. It's big, and I like it because I have this strange hand. I got a bent thumb that doesn't go away, and it fits around the guitar fine, but I notice if I play too skinny of a neck, I start get tingling and numbness in my finger and thumb. But when I play a big fat neck, there's never any pain, and it's all fine. So that's really more of a custom thing for me, the way I wanted it and the way I like to play, and it helps my hand. I put Joyo electronics in it. They're really pretty good electronics. We're going to hear them in a minute. Joyo, they make those little amp heads that power speakers, and they're really quite a device. And so these electronics seem to work really well, and under the saddle transducer, they're pretty powerful all in all. I think that's the whole shoot and match. Let's plug it in. Well, you heard it before, so. So I hope on the video you can hear that sustain. Now if we plug it in, we're going to get even more sound. And I don't know how loud it'll seem on the video. I'll turn it up at the end just so we can get a sense of the power. Little Spark Mini rechargeable amp. It's not patched into anything else. It's just coming out of this little Mini. Which is a good sign. If it sounds good coming out of this, it'll sound good coming out of just about anything. So hope you can hear that. It's really loud in here for me. I'm going to turn it up. Now you can hear the sustain. So, whoa, that's a fun little component. So that's the instrument I built. I really wanted a travel 12 string, you know, something small, easy to throw in a gig bag, easy to pack in the car, easy to take on vacation. All those kinds of things, and also very easy. I do a lot of my playing in a recliner. In the den here, I just lay back and play away. And so because of this body size, it's really great to lay back in a recliner and play guitar. So it meets my need, and I'm thrilled with it. And I think because I can play it in, I can play it anywhere also. So I hope you've enjoyed the build process and what came out of it. If someone wanted to build a guitar, This is a simple process compared to other ways, where you just make this trapezoid shape, and you're not bending wood, and you can put it on, and at that point, if someone wanted to get a purchase a neck instead of making a neck, that could also be done. And it doesn't have to be 12 string, etc. I just kind of like the full sound of a 12 string when I'm playing alone. So that's how I went. And like I said, just a reminder, on the tail, there are some other videos that are related to the build and show it in, document the process a little bit, not as well as I should have. And I hope you enjoyed this. Lord bless you. Until the next time. Hello. So as some of you might or might not know, I've stopped building musical instruments. Because I had too many, and I've sold those off, and it just didn't have a really good designated workspace, and it just isn't always convenient to do that kind of a project. So I stopped building them, and I've enjoyed the process of not making instruments. I was just getting a little tired, and so I'm not building them anymore. That said, I'm getting ready to build a musical instrument. So my plan is to build a small, short scale, 12-string guitar with kind of the triangle or trapezoid shape to it. So it'll look more wedge-like, something like a balalaika. And that's the plan. So I'm going to be getting started on that and kind of follow the build process a little bit. And so it starts with this chunk of cedar. It's Northwest red cedar, logged in our own area that my son-in-law gave me a chunk of. Has a real good clear grain. You can see that. I've split a couple chunks off of it. I'm going to knock one more chunk off to be safe. And that will become the top wood for the instrument I'm building. Red cedar is a great wood for top. It's not as strong as spruce, but I'm building something with a shorter scale. It'll have a good deal less tension than a normal 12-string guitar would have on it. So it should be fine. I hope. If it's not, you'll probably never see this video. But that's what I'm doing. The tools are really special. I took an axe and I get it started, and then I just pound it through with a hammer, and it splits off these. Basically, they look like cedar shakes. That's all I'm doing. No specialized tool, just an axe and a claw hammer. And it splits very nicely. You can see it's a good straight grain. Ramirez, who built guitars almost exclusively for Segovia, he was a famous luthier, and he decided that red cedar was the only thing a top should be made out of, particularly for classical style guitars. But it's not unheard of to see a steel string with redwood or with cedar as a top. So I thought I'd go with that because I have this and it's a nice wood. So I hope you get a kick out of the build process. And literally, like I said, I took my rusty old axe, one-bitted axe, and I pounded it through with my claw hammer and split off some chunks. And of course, the next step, I'm gonna actually draw some plans out on this one, which I don't always do. Usually the plan just remains in my head, but I kind of want to draft it out a little bit on paper so I get the measurements right. But the next step would be to plane these down, and they'll be planed down to 1/8 of an inch, and run through a saw to square the sides and glued together. And that'll give us our top wood. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to experiment with the back a little bit. We'll talk more about that in the next section. So hope you enjoy the process. Well, hello. I got so excited building this Traveler's 12-string that I forgot to do any progress videos. So I've got it partly put together and remembered. So here we go. Remember I said I was going to make kind of the triangle or trapezoid shape. That's what I did. The purpose of that is just, it's easy. I didn't have to bend wood or anything. I just put straight boards on the side and everything, and it just goes together quickly. I've built one of these before and it sounded really good. I don't longer have it. I sold it, but the people that have it are thrilled. And in any case, now I'm building another one, and it's just because it's easy. What I did was, these are the cedar shakes, and that made the top, and you can see I planed them down, and they're a little under 1/8 of an inch thick at this point. You can see you can see that I also planed down some of the mahogany for the sides. Now the top and the tail piece are thick, because if I put thin sides, I'd have to add a block anyhow. So I just figured could just make them thick, and I think I'll still get good sound out of it. That's certainly the hope. I hope I don't regret doing that, but we'll find out. And I put a V bracing inside, and that's because there's some really good manufacturers using V bracing in their guitars. One of them is Taylor Guitars, and they talk about the purpose of a V bracing is to cause the tone to be the same up and down the neck as you're moving and capoing and things like that. I just thought, why not give it a shot? And so that's what I did, and I just glued some furring in here to just like perfing, and but it's straight furring, and I just put that in so I'd have more to glue to when I put the top and the back on. I've drilled a hole in it and cut this out because that's necessary for the electronics that are going to go in it. And it'll have a glued on 12 strings bridge with pins, the standard operating procedure, with a under the saddle transducer. And that'll give me the necessary electronics so I can plug it in. I figure, why not work that into it if I'm building it anyhow. I managed to do all this with the 3 pieces I split off that chunk of wood with my axe, and 1 board that's mahogany. So it's all mahogany and cedar. And so the neck is also mahogany, and you can see I just I layered it. I glued pieces together to layer it. There's about 4 there, so it's 3.5 inches, and that gives me the heel that I need. And then I also glued 3 together here so I could have a 10-degree angle on that headstock when I cut it out. And then I drilled the necessary holes for the 12 tuning machines that go in there. I'm kind of at a standstill. I'm waiting for the rosewood that I ordered for the fretboard. We'll see how long I have to wait. If I get impatient, I'll make the fretboard out of something else and return the rosewood, but I hope I get it, honestly. And I put this steel bar in here. It's not glued in place, that's why the tape's there. This will get flooded with glue when I glue the fretboard on, and that's steel reinforcement for the neck. It's not adjustable. I've put plenty of adjustable steel rod systems in the necks of guitars. I chose not to do that because it's such a short neck. There's really no reason to make it adjustable. You're just not going to get to adjust it that much. And so I didn't want to do it, so I didn't. I think that's just about it. It's a very short neck. The reason being, I came to that, it's about a 21.5 inch scale length. And the way I came to that was, I took my Taylor 12-string guitar and I capoed it at the 3rd fret and tuned it to standard guitar tuning. And lo and behold, it plays and sounds great like that. And that's a 21.5 inch scale if I put the capo at the 3rd fret. So I'm copying that scale length off of the Taylor fretboard to make this travel guitar. It makes it nice and small. and it should produce good sound and a lot of ease of playability. It's the right width, very nice flat neck. Of course, it's thicker once you add your fretboard. So that's where we're at this point. Probably the next thing we'll see, it'll be together, and that'll be the end of the video. So thanks for watching. Well, hello. So I've been working on this project, and this is where we're at so far. Back's on, got a little arch in the back that we wanted. Neck's on, the fretboard is on, frets aren't in it yet, that's coming. Armrest, bridge, everything's coming into place. You can see the binding there. The next step, of course, is a lot of sanding. I have to finish sand the sides, and I've got to sand the back down so it matches. I'll probably run it on a router first, and then I'll sand it. And then I have to sand the edge of the fretboard and make sure everything's nice and neat and clean here. At which point I will also be putting in the dots on the side in dots, and then the inlay dots, which I'm using some abalone dots that go in the front here. Once that's all in place and sanded, I'll stick the frets in it. And then after that, I'll probably start putting some finish on it. There's some little inlay details I might put on it. Things like that. Put the electronics back in, obviously, and after it's finished. But this is where it is as a rough product. It's not finished by any stretch of the imagination, but it's solid and it's good and has a good tone. So it should produce sound. That's what we're after. There's the headstock with all the holes drilled in. Side view, that's what we're dealing with. And you have to, give a little grace. It's not finished. It's on its way. And so we're looking forward to that. Today in the afternoon, when I get some of my work done, I'll have opportunity to do a little sanding on it. And each step gets us closer to the finished product. So Lord bless you.